Evening at the Movies is a proud member of the I Did Not Make These Rankings podcast network. Other shows in the network include Mass Debaters, The Sip List, Crushgasm, Love is Black, Men Are the Prize, Crime Rewind, and Literature Reapers. You can find out all about our shows and more at idnmtrpodcastnetwork.com. Happy listening. You are now entering the world of a movie review. A world full of drama, joy, ridicule, movie spoilers, unpopular opinions, and adult humor for as far as the eye can see. Welcome to An Evening at the Movies.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, it's not Movie Sunday, but we're here. We're live. We're doing what we do, and we're gonna fucking do it because we are the elite, best of the best.
Yes, we are.
So, clue as to what we are discussing today, but we will get to that in a hot minute. But
the plaque for the alternate is not in the ladies' room. It's in Trump's desk.
Hey, I'm not saying a word. But for those of you who do not know, this is An Evening at the Movies. Possibly the podcast where we eat the stale popcorn, we drink the watered down sodas, and we talk about all of our favorite movies and why we love them, as well as some incredible acting talent. But before we get to that, though, everybody's favorite co-host is back with us, the volleyball coach with
that's me.
Ray-Bans on.
I got my 80s poofy hair. I've got my aviators. I've got my bomber jacket. I'm ready to go. This will not be
so many Easter eggs. So many Easter eggs as to what we are going to be talking about today. But
I would love to be a beach volleyball coach for some of the men in this movie.
Well, I mean, right, wrong, or indifferent, Tony Edwards, rest in peace, Dr. Green, Rick Rossovich, fucking.
Oh yeah, Rick Rossovich is so hot in this movie. And if aviators and bomber jacket didn't give it away, I don't know what to tell you guys.
Well, and the fact that I literally flooded social media last night and today, letting everybody know what we're talking about, and even that I was going to be a couple minutes late because I was watching the end of the movie that I didn't have to watch the end of because I've seen it 1.5 million times, and I know it like the back of my friggin' hand.
Me too.
By the way, look, I got all my friendship bracelets.
I love it.
So,
highway to the danger zone. Bow, bow.
If my co-host's amazing singing voice did not give it away either, we will be talking about the 80s classic Top Gun, because as everybody knows, April 1st, Val Kilmer passed away. If I read everything correctly, his daughter said from complications from pneumonia, which him being a throat cancer,
I was going to say, yeah,
person, he's obviously immunocompromised, and especially in the last 5 years, we all know what immunocompromised means. So definitely 100%, and we'll get to all of this again probably before this episode is over. But 100% rest in peace, Iceman, Val Kilmer. His laundry list of amazing movies that he's been in. I could be here all day. I could be here all day listing them, but some of my favorites, obviously, this movie, Willow, Tombstone. I mean, dude was my Huckleberry.
Batman Forever, which I still maintain is one of the best Batman movies, and I will accept 0 notes on this.
It's not one of the worst, I'll say that.
I don't know that he's my favorite Batman, but that is one of my favorite Batman movies because, as I've said many times, I like my comic book movies to be comic booky. I like them to be silly and outrageous. Not to shit on the other ones because I really do love like the Christian Bale Batman and whatever. But yeah, I need my Batman superhero movies to be fun, like the comic books are. Kapow, kaboom, holy rusted metal, Batman.
Which technically that line was dusted off for Batman Forever.
Yeah. Oh, we have commenters. My dad's here. Luana's here. Oh, Luana's favorite is Batman Returns. Batman Returns is a really good one. Danny DeVito is so fucking creepy as the Penguin. And I love Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman.
You know, in response to your dad, that
That's
statement
right.
definitely may come up again before this episode is over.
I
So,
am dangerous.
well, I mean, he is your dad, so he would know. And then, like I said, Batman Forever is not the worst Batman movie of all time.
It is not.
I It's not a nipple suit. I'll say that.
I'm
And
gonna.
it's
Oh, good.
shoot me now, but it is not Ben Affleck.
I don't even think Ben Affleck was that bad. Being Batman is fucking hard. Like, I applaud anybody that will actually try it because it's impossible to live up to, and everybody has to bring their own thing. I'm going to piss some people off. I think, what's the first one with Christian Bale? Is it Batman? The first one's not The Dark
Begins.
Knight. What's it called?
Batman Begins.
Batman Begins is the worst one, in my opinion. I was so fucking bored. I didn't need
Oh
all
no,
that backstory.
it's the worst of the three. I will say that,
Yeah.
in my honest opinion. But
But Val Kilmer was
that's
a fun Batman and he was sexy, so there's that.
I will agree with that. And again, I don't. I will die on this hill. I do not think he is the worst Batman that has ever been played. That has ever played Batman. I would probably put him somewhere middle-ish of the pack. But you know what? I believe we talked about this on the SIP
We
list.
did. I was about to plug my
So
show.
if people want to know who the two of us think is the best Batman, I highly recommend you go check out that episode because
It was a good one.
we had myself, Amanda, Papa Palpatine. We all had some very interesting statements and arguments about who we felt like was the best Batman out there, from animated Batman all the way down to Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, Nipple Suit Clooney,
Yeah, Clooney's really
Affleck,
I still
Pattinson.
maintain Lego Batman is a top fiver. I know you guys didn't have him, but Lego
I
Batman's
did,
amazing.
I honestly didn't think about Lego Batman when I was doing my list. I was more focused on.
Well, that's because you're not as fun as I am.
I wasn't thinking outside the box. So,
That
but
box you could think outside of. I'm
yeah.
on cold medicine right now and I'm drinking wine. Probably not a great combination, but it'll make fun for the show.
Oh Lord.
My sinus shit's back again. See,
Man.
Luana gets it. Lego Batman is hot. He is. And he has some amazing one liners. They get the Batman
Uh,
one-liners really good with him. So, anyway,
all right. So, we're not talking about Batman this
excuse me.
episode.
True.
We are
Have we
going to
done
pick.
Batman Forever?
No.
Okay, adding it to the list.
Mm, I'm trying. We've done Batman Begins because that was me
That
and
was not
Joey.
on that.
No, that was the second or third episode. It was
Yeah, we'll
The
figure it out.
Crow, Stand By Me, and Batman Begins were the first 3 episodes, and I don't
Huh.
remember which one came in what order. I know that The Crow came first, so
Well, Stand By Me had to be recorded twice, so who knows?
yeah, it did. Absolutely 100% freaking. I don't care what people say. Willow is one of my all-time favorite
Such a great movie.
movies, and Val
Yeah.
Kilmer was. I wouldn't
Yeah.
say Mad Mardigan was as good as Iceman, but it's not very far behind performance-wise, in my opinion.
Yeah.
People can shoot me now if they want. I don't care, but I will die on that freaking hill.
I mean, he had like if we're just gonna do it, well, let's just run through some of his other movies, like that people don't really think about. I mean, The Doors, hello, amazing. The Saint,
Real genius.
yeah, Ghost in the Darkness. Um,
Island of Dr. Moreau.
oh yeah, I forgot about
He,
that. Wonderland.
yeah,
Wonderland was really good. That's a really slept on movie, but I really liked it.
only Val could fly it.
A 747 at Mach 4.3. Yeah, until Goose's son does it in Top Gun Maverick, which I'm really glad Val Kilmer got to make an appearance in that. Good for him.
Yeah, I'm not gonna, because that's one of those things that ever since I started flooding social media with announcements that we were gonna do this episode, all of a sudden, freaking, and I'm sure it has something to do with the fact that he passed away on Tuesday as well.
Right.
But um, yeah, I've been my social media has been flooded with freaking little TikToks of that last scene with him
Yeah.
and Maverick before. You know what? It's been out long enough. Spoiler alert, ripping the band-aid off, but the last scene before he passes away,
Right.
where
We
he gets Maverick to open his eyes and realize that the Navy needs him,
mhm.
and that's why he fought for him. And then they have their little emotional hug, and they share that last line about, so did you ever figure it out who the best pilot is? And he's like, we just had a moment. I don't want to ruin it now.
Hey, I think I could figure that one out on my own. I heard that about you. Well, I wanted to say, and my dad's here, so I feel bad because he is an Army veteran and we appreciate your service. You're a rock star. But Navy guys are the hottest. Navy guys are just so hot. And Tom
Well,
Cruise has been in the Navy twice. uh, Two
oh,
Good Men.
freaking duh.
Because I think Born on the 4th of July was the Army. I can't remember. I haven't seen it in
He
a long time, but
he was
he's played a good military man a few
he was
times.
more badass in Top Gun though.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure.
I mean, he was kind
Maverick?
of a pushover in A Few Good Men until he had to grow a pair and
Very true.
force Jack Nicholson to admit what he shouldn't have freaking admitted. But again, we've already discussed A Few Good Men, so
That we
if you
have.
would like to hear more about that, you can definitely go back in time and find in our library that episode because it was a lot of fun and all of
You
that. But
you know what I think I've decided I'm gonna start doing when I can is, what?
Luana, Tom Cruise plays the same dude in every movie. Tom Cruise.
I mean, you can't really argue with that,
I
but
mean,
I
at
don't
the end
know.
of
I
the
He's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, but he's a good actor. Like, I don't know. It's hard. He does play the same
um,
guy a lot of the time, though.
he has been in some movies that I thoroughly enjoy. This is one of them.
Mhm.
There are several others. He's also
Eyes
been
wide
in.
shut.
I was going to say there's also some movies that he's been in that are probably closer to my least favorite movies of all time. Eyes
That's the
Wide
only movie
Shut
I've
is
ever
one of
walked
them.
out on.
Um, I've walked out on two movies: Eyes Wide Shut and that hot garbage remake of the greatest slasher movie of all time.
Oh, I made that one last, but I didn't go see the second one in the theater. Oh, you're talking about Nightmare on Elm Street, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Oh, Luana said Legend. I love Legend. Legend and Willow and Labyrinth are like a whole vibe if you watch them all in the same day and you have a
Oh yeah,
gummy.
they are.
No, I think I
Legend.
have decided.
Legend is one of those movies that people forget about
Mhm.
all the time, and it never gets brought up in discussions. But
Well, I think people forget about
it's
Willow
one of those
too.
movies. Yeah, I they really do, and I get how it can kind of sort of drag and be slow at points, but at the same time, if you're not a fan of Lord of the Rings, then you know, oh well. You'll enjoy Willow more than you probably will Lord of the Rings, though.
Yeah, Willow is definitely if you watch Willow, Legend, and Labyrinth, and then you throw in Neverending Story with a gummy, you have got yourself a party.
Oh, I can no, I could never ever watch Neverending Story on a gummy.
Turn
Eh,
around, tell me what you
Oh, I'd sing along,
see.
but there's a certain scene
Yeah,
about
I know. I would lose
20
it.
minutes into the damn movie that would kill my damn buzz.
I'll just make that snack time. I've seen it once. I don't need to see it again. I've seen it more than once. But anyway,
Oh,
um,
yeah. When
Top Gun.
Shannon was on and we discussed it, we both discussed how we bawl our eyes out every damn time. Doesn't matter how many times we've seen the damn movie.
They really wanted
So,
to traumatize children in the 80s. Like, I don't think people understand. Like, you see kids' movies now, and I'm like, Gen X knows what it was like to be traumatized as children because one, our parents didn't monitor anything we fucking watched. And two, everything was so
no.
brutal. Like, everything had to have a bad thing happen. Stand by Me and, Neverending Story and movies that should be geared towards kids, but really shouldn't be. And yeah, Gen X has suffered a lot because of the film industry in the 80s.
Well, I mean, at the same time, I will fully admit I was like 8 years old the first time I saw Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah.
So, you know, and that movie is responsible for me knowing how to effectively and correctly drop F bombs all over the fucking place.
I saw Porky's when I was 6. I didn't understand any of it, but I still laughed.
Oh, I didn't understand freaking Beverly Hills Cop when I watched it, but watching it as an adult, it's like,
Well, same with
that
Top Gun, so
makes
let's get to
sense.
that because there's some stuff definitely.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to pull up my information as we speak.
Okay, well, I will say
Moana.
real quick while you're doing that, um,
I
I
love being able to watch shit I wasn't supposed to watch. It made me cooler than. Well, yeah, it did. I mean,
same
I'm
Luana, same. And when we
I'm
got
not gonna lie.
HBO, it was over.
Yeah, we were lucky enough to have HBO and Showtime at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times on Friday night, as soon as mom and dad went to bed, it was sneaking back out to the living room, turning the TV on,
Mhm.
turning the volume as far down as you could and still hear, and hopefully not have them hear, and
You
looking
see
over
that
your
giant
shoulder every.
HBO coming at you. Da, na, 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 na.
I am not gonna lie. I tried at one point to try and figure out a way to incorporate that music into an opening for this show.
Mm.
But then I thought, copyright, and I don't want to get the show shut down. So,
Okay.
all right. So, Top Gun released on May 16th, 1986. I was not even 10 years old yet.
Me either.
It was directed by
But we were alive.
and it
Aha.
was directed by Mr. Tony Scott, sibling to Alien director Ridley Scott. It was
Oh, he's the ugly stepsister. Poor Tony.
right, but not at the. I
Not
mean,
really. Not really.
Tony Scott has directed some amazing. Tony Scott directed Beverly Hills Cop, so
And
and
he
Top Gun.
directed Days of Thunder, which I accidentally watched earlier for about 5 minutes.
Oh, special websites. All I'm going to say.
Well, it's not a special website. So we have all the movies we own on our home server, like we've put them in or whatever, so that we don't have to keep physical copies of everything. And George labeled them all, and it's supposed to pull up the description and everything. It connects online, but there has been a time or two where a movie has been labeled as the wrong thing. For example, Nightmare on Elm Street 3 was actually Nightmare on Elm Street 2 when I turned it on, and I was like, oh, hell no. And so today, so I
That
had to
is an uncalled for fuck up.
right? I saw a school bus and I was like, no, 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 no.
No, there's no school bus in Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
No. But
There's no
I
school
went to
in
turn
Nightmare on Elm
on
Street 3.
I went to turn on Top Gun today and it was freaking me out. I thought my volume wasn't working. So Days of Thunder opens the same way, like with the Paramount, but with Top Gun, you hear that music immediately, which is one of the things I love about the opening. Like
Yeah,
the
you hear
Paramount
that
thing's not
dun,
even
dun,
done, and
dun,
it's like,
dun, 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 as the stars are scrolling in over the top of the damn mountain.
I couldn't hear it, so I was messing. I was like, "What is happening?" And then I wasn't really paying attention. I was like, Jerry Bruckheimer, Simpson?
Again, they produce the
I
same
know.
both
And then I
movies,
saw
so
directed by Tony Scott, and I was like, this does not look like Top Gun, but yet it looks like Top Gun.
exactly.
And then I was like, oh, it's Days of Thunder,
Let's see.
which I
It
would have
was.
kept watching if I didn't have homework.
I mean, Days of Thunder is a great fucking movie too.
I love that movie.
Uh, Kenny Loggins. I
What
don't
don't
remember.
what don't you remember? Yeah. Kenny
Uh,
Loggins finally broke free of yacht rock with this movie. Well, I guess Caddyshack, because that was before this, right? Yeah.
yeah, but even still, that was borderline rock, yacht
I'm
rock.
all right. Nobody
So,
worry about me. Ain't got to give me a thing. Why don't you just let me be?
back on track.
Sorry.
Top Gun was distributed by Paramount Pictures, as we already discussed, because Amanda thought her volume was fucked up. It had a $15 million budget.
Okay, I have to take these off.
And would you like to wager a guess as to what you think its box office is?
What was the budget?
15 million. 1 5.
Okay, so
And
I
Luana
mean,
says,
so Danger Zone sort of opened Top Gun, but it opens with the Top Gun theme music.
yeah.
So you hear the dun 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 na, 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 and then it breaks into Danger Zone. So
But yeah, as the
they both
jet plane, as the fighter jets are taking off the aircraft carrier, that's when Danger Zone kicks in. For about one of the 17 times it kicks in throughout that movie.
yeah. And when did it release? You say what month?
Mm,
It was summer, right?
May 16th, 1986. So it
Okay.
was the kickoff of the summer blockbuster season.
So almost Memorial Day release. We're not even 10 years out of Vietnam, and people are finally starting to realize that the vets aren't bad people. I'm going to say this movie made, let's go with 110 million.
Not even close.
Am I way over or under?
Way under.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'm trying to think in 80s money.
Yeah, I gave up on trying to translate box office numbers into modern day numbers a long
My
time ago.
original thought was 350, and then I thought that was too much.
You would have been a lot closer.
Okay.
You would have been off by $7.3 million.
Oh, okay.
Three hundred
Just your gut,
fifty-seven
Amanda.
point three million.
Yeah. I think the world, and especially America, needed this movie. Like, I mean, it's not a war movie per se, but it was just something to give fighter pilots a good name again, and to like really, highlight them and whatever. So I think it came along at just the right time. Besides all the other good stuff about it.
Well, because I've talked to numerous people before that have said they hate war movies and they hate anything like military related like that. And okay, what motif?
Luana, I'll send you a clip of the opening of the movie so you can see what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So, um,
But I love
but
when movies start the music in the studio intro. Like when they don't
yeah,
wait until they've introduced it. Like, and this is one of the movies people do it a lot more now, but in the 80s that wasn't common. So it's like you're
no,
invested before like the movie even starts. So anyway.
yeah, exactly. But like I was saying though, I've talked to numerous people that say they can't stand war movies, military movies, things like that. But yet they will tell you in no uncertain terms that Top Gun is probably, if not their favorite, one of their favorite movies of all time.
Yeah. I would definitely not classify it as a war movie. I would classify it as a military movie, obviously, but I mean, there's very little actual fighting in the movie, and it's not even during a war. So I wouldn't want to put it in that
No,
category because war movies are tough. I mean,
like the fighting in, well, legitimate fighting in the movie is the opening scene that's like 5 minutes long, and then the final scene, well, final ish. There's still like 5 minutes left of the movie after the fighting's
yeah.
over. But
Poor
yeah,
Dennis from Christine. Cougar.
right, Cougar. Um, but uh, next step is we have to discuss our rule in the I Did Not Make These Rankings podcast network.
Oh shit, I
Amanda,
forgot
what is
about
the
this.
rule?
Good.
What do we say about Rotten Tomatoes?
Fuck Rotten Tomatoes. So that means the scores are not good? That's surprising.
Uh,
It doesn't surprise me. Okay. All right.
one one is better than the other. One
So
is the reason why we say fuck Rotten Tomatoes.
this is hard for me because I guess I mean I can't say this with certainty obviously because I am the age that I am. But even with younger people watching this movie, I feel like there's not a lot to complain about. There are things in the storyline that piss me off and things knowing about the military that piss me off that are not accurate, but other than that it's like a really like I can't understand why people wouldn't really enjoy it. So,
Oh,
okay.
I got something to complain about this movie,
Okay.
and you and I actually briefly discussed this while you were doing your rewatch.
Well,
But
and Dad, hopefully you can stay and watch and be in the comments to corroborate or add to my comments about how this doesn't portray the military properly. um,
but
okay, so let's
no
see.
more stalling.
Okay.
Tomato meter, audience meter.
Audience meter, let's go with 72%.
Okay.
Tomato meter. Let's go with 61%?
Missed it by that much.
Which one?
Uh, Popcorn Meter on 250,000 plus reviews gave it an 83%,
Oh, okay. Well, good. I was
which
way off.
is the one that it's not great, but it's
I'll
manageable.
accept it. I'll accept it. I'll allow it.
Um, I know it's not what the audience gave the sequel,
Hmm.
but the tomato meter on 76 reviews gave it a whopping 59%.
Shut the fuck up.
I will send you a screenshot of
I
the
thought I was lowballing it with 61 because I was trying not to be a whore like I usually am with my ratings. I believe you. You don't have to send it to me, but wow.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying that
Why?
I really honestly don't know because I have gone on record on this show numerous times and said how much personality wise I cannot stand Tom Cruise.
Right.
I think he's a wackadoo and his religious choices are stupid AF. But at the end of the day,
He's a great actor. Like, you
some
can't
enter-
argue with it.
he's done some entertaining movies that I've enjoyed watching, and this is one of them. And it's one of those movies like we were talking about a minute ago, where you don't have to enjoy war movies or military movies to enjoy this movie because it's so
Yeah.
incredibly well written. The characters are very well developed. And at the end of the day, good God, there are a shit ton of freaking people that are recognizable in this movie.
Oh, so many.
You may not necessarily know their names, but I can guarantee you. I mean, obviously Tom Cruise, Anthony Edwards, Val Kilmer, Rick Rossovich had a brief little career in the '80s. Dude that played Trevette in Walker Texas Ranger,
You got Mr.
um,
Strickland.
Mr. Strickland from Back to the Future. Oh my God, one of my favorite characters in this fucking movie. Um, Andy
Meg
Dufresne,
Ryan, young, young,
Meg
young Meg
Ryan,
Ryan.
Andy
Tom
Dufresne
Skerritt, my
himself,
old man
Tim
crushes.
Robbins.
Oh yeah, Tim Robbins for like 30 seconds. Tom Skerritt was such one of my old man crushes in like the 80s and 90s. Like I even watched that stupid movie Poison Ivy just because he was in it. And I was like, I kind of want to be seducing Tom Skerritt. What's up with this?
I am not gonna lie. One of my favorite, most underrated moments in this movie is when they're at the graduation ceremony, the graduation award ceremony, and they're celebrating, and Maverick walks up and congratulates Goose and all of that, and they have their little fucking
Not
moment.
Goose, Ice.
Or not Goose, Ice. I
Goose
meant
is
Ice.
dead, bro. Blue's dead, bro.
His
Blue's dead,
death,
man.
Anthony Edwards dying, is responsible for most of my freaking '80s and '90s PTSD
And then they
moments.
had to do it again to us on ER. Like,
That's what I'm
what
saying.
the
Goose
fuck?
dying and then Dr. Green,
Yeah.
done. But
Give Anthony Edwards a happy ending for fuck's sake.
exactly. But the payoff to all of that is Viper interrupting the celebration, and he's like, "We've got an incident, and some of you are going to have to take off immediately." Um, and then they hand out the assignments, and he makes a statement that Maverick, you're going to get your Rio when you get to your ship. Pause, pause, pause. But if you don't, give me a call. I'll fly with you.
Tears.
Considering how much they butted heads, I guess, in the beginning, that bond between the two evolved significantly over what 90 minutes of them knowing each other.
Well, and Viper understands him because he knows things that other people can't know.
Well, like he
So
said the day before the graduation, when he, what I'm about to tell you could get me in deep shit.
cost me my career.
Yeah, I mean
But I'm so glad that
he
happened.
knew
Like,
information about what happened to Maverick's dad.
because that's a pivotal moment in the story that, you know, not I especially, and again, I just read a book about the Vietnam War and it was fiction, but I'm still like, it's just like reminding me of a lot of things that people didn't know a lot of shit. And his
Yeah,
dad was deemed a bad guy because he did some shit over what is he says an imaginary line on a map. It doesn't matter. He served his country and he saved people. But
yeah,
military people were either villainized or people weren't told about people dying, or they'd be like, your person died, we didn't recover any body parts, and then 3 years later you find out they're a POW and they're coming home and you've already had a funeral for this person. So it's like, to have
well,
that uncertainty, it would haunt me, so you could tell it haunts him.
I know it's not the movie that we're talking about, but I still, for me personally, I'll go back to movies like First Blood and Rambo First Blood Part 2, where you have the first movie, Stallone coming home from Vietnam and being treated like shit because he's a vet and he's a quote unquote baby killer, blah, 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 blah,
Hmm.
blah, and all of this. And then you have the second movie where, you know, he's being asked to go into, back into Vietnam, take pictures of potential POW, prisoners to prove whether there are or aren't POWs still over
Yeah.
in Southeast Asia. So, you know, it makes for a compelling storyline. I don't want to get
Yeah.
into the whole, you know, the right and wrong of all of this, and you know, does our country respect our veterans and treat them
No.
fairly?
No. I will say, just for anybody listening that doesn't know, like maybe some of our younger listeners, if you want to have a masterclass in how the government covers shit up and only tells us what they think we want to hear, the Vietnam War is your go-to. The shit that was hidden and
Yep.
covered up and fat out, not fat, flat out lied about was
Yeah.
ridiculous. And it cost people their lives, and it cost the vets that came home, a lot of them, their lives. The suicide rates were astronomical. Now, that's not just on our government, but it is somewhat. So, something to read about if you don't know much about it, because I think history classes now probably kind of. I
Well,
mean,
and
World War II is our grand war. That's the big boom of America taking on the Nazis, and so we learn a lot about World War II. I don't feel like kids learn a lot about Vietnam, and I don't know that people are still ashamed of it. I think the government doesn't want us to sit there and read about how they misled us, like
yeah,
grossly misled us. And I say us, we weren't even alive, but you know what I mean. So anyway,
there, we were
back
right
to
there at the tail end. But yeah, back to the fact that Rotten Tomatoes is fucking full of shit. Fucking
Top Gun.
59%.
You never
I
trust
don't.
Rotten Tomatoes.
I cannot imagine a reason. I mean, we'll get into more in detail going forward, but what is there to hate about this fucking movie?
Not much. I mean,
I mean, I'm
I,
sure
I
that
have some
there's
qualms, but not a lot.
problematic shit that will get discussed,
Well, again,
but
this is my thing with Rotten Tomatoes. Had Rotten Tomatoes been a thing in 1986, this movie would be in the 80s and 90s on both. No fucking doubt. Because this movie came about in a time when people needed it and when people needed to be patriotic and when war
yeah,
stuff was cool, and you know, getting this inside glimpse into the military, inside this elite program that is real for people that don't know. Top Gun is a real
Yeah.
program. Um,
Yeah.
and
Well, spoiler. I mean, okay. So, fun fact. Um, if you're watching the opening scene at the bar when Maverick meets Charlie, not Charlie is a girl. Charlie is Kelly McGillis. For those of you who don't know, but she's there with a date when she's meeting a date at the bar that night, and the person who plays her date is actually the real life, true to the story Viper.
I did not know that. That's wild. I love
I
that.
I had forgotten that until I was scrolling through TikTok, I think last night, and there was a fun fact thing that popped up in between, rest in peace Val Kilmer
Mm,
TikToks, and that popped up because he was, not only did he have that cameo, but he was also the technical advisor on the
yeah,
movie as well. Because obviously he is, you know, the head of said program,
right.
said school. So
So when we saw Top Gun Maverick, George's company hosted a deal and they brought in a Top Gun instructor who's from Fort Worth. So we got to do like a Q&A with him after we got to see the movie. And he said the majority of the original movie and Top Gun Maverick was pretty true to fact. Like the speeds they were getting in Top Gun Maverick, he said were a little over. And he said little things like Top Gun doesn't do a point system like what they have in this movie. I get why they did that. It was easier to explain, but you know, it was just little
yeah,
stuff. But he said for the most part, the movies were really faithful. So I thought that was cool.
well, I think the point system kind of sort of adds a little bit of easy, makes it a little bit easier to understand for people who don't necessarily know. I mean, if you look at it as a
Makes the
competition,
competition look easy. Not look easier, but more explainable. Like it's easy
yeah,
for us as the audience to follow along when we know Iceman has more points than Maverick. Like in real life,
yeah,
that's not how it works, but the competition makes more sense that way.
yeah. Well, because we know, okay, so Maverick has to do X, Y, and Z if he wants to catch up to Ice, or Ice has to do elemental P to stay ahead of Maverick, and it it's definitely a lot easier for comprehension levels if you just turn it into a game and
Right.
have
I mean,
points
they do
awarded.
still, he did say they do still have a competition. It is a competitive slash pace, not oh my god, what is the word I'm placing? It is a placing scenario, but it's not done by points. And he didn't really further explain it, but either way, I'm sure they did that so it makes sense. So I think
Well,
that's fine.
it, it doesn't necessarily have to be completely explained for simple layman's terms either.
Yeah.
So, it,
I feel like I had
knowing that it,
I have not.
knowing that it doesn't take away from how much I love this movie. So,
Oh yeah, no, not at all. That was a good thing to hear, especially all this many years later that there are little things obviously that aren't going to be the same, and obviously a lot of it is for
mhm,
dramatic effect, but as far as like the plane stuff and the fighting stuff and the technical shit, that it was
yeah.
pretty true, like close to fact. So I didn't say, and we're too far to do the whole thing, but in case you don't know, Top Gun is about Navy fighter pilots that go to this elite academy called Top Gun and become the best of the best.
Well, I mean, they pretty much are the best of the
Well, they
best,
are,
and
yeah,
they're going head to head with other bests of the best.
yeah,
Like, and one of the things I definitely still want to bring up is the fact that, and I never really thought about it much until doing this rewatch for this episode, but just how spot on perfect Val Kilmer played Iceman.
Mm-hmm.
Like at the bar when Tom Cruise sees him for the first time and Goose is explaining to him who that is. And he's explaining, he's
It's ice
that's
cold.
ice. He's cold. He's blah, 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 blah. It lures you into a false sense of security. And then he strikes. And that literally how he, portrays the character all the
Yeah.
way throughout the movie. And
But
again,
he shows
another point.
empathy too when he
Oh, yeah.
needs to,
No, exactly. But
which is nice.
at the same time, one of the things that I noticed this time for the first time was after Goose dies and Maverick's in the locker room packing his shit up because he's quitting, and Ice walks in and he's standing there and he shows empathy and he tries his best to provide the empathy that is, obviously the respected, act that he needs to do. And, I'm sorry, Goose died, blah blah blah. But he's still they're not standing there having this big sobbing emotional moment either. You still can tell looking at the way he's acting, he still has that cold, rigid, this is who I am,
And I
stoic.
think I think
Go
that's
ahead.
intentional because obviously it's part of his personality, but also
Mhm.
he knows Maverick's not going to come crying into his arms. The two of them can't stand each other. Like
Yeah,
they might have a underlying mutual respect, but on the surface they can't stand each other. So he knows he can't go up to Maverick and be like, "Buddy, I'm so sorry," and hug him, even if that is something Iceman would do, which we don't know. You can tell he doesn't know what to say, but he knows not to say too much. And you can
yeah.
tell that it's like weighing on him, but he doesn't want to go too far. So it's like, yeah, he's keeping that Iceman exterior, but I don't think it's for the reason that he's ice cold. I think it's because he knows not to overstep and he's not sure what to say. I mean, what do you say? This is probably the first time these guys have seen anything like this. They're still fresh Navy guys. They're new to this academy. Like they've done shit, but they haven't been pilots long enough to see someone die, most likely, like that.
I don't know exactly how old they are, but I believe at some point
Mid
in
20s is what I would think.
yeah, because they were talking about when Maverick and Charlie have their date and he shows up late after the volleyball game and he's opening himself up and pouring his heart out over, the sitting on the dock of the bay song. And his mom passed away shortly after his dad, blah, 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 blah. You know, and they were talking about, I don't remember exactly the date, but I remember 1965 came up
Right, and he was a little
and
kid.
he had to have been little ish that, young enough he doesn't remember his dad, but obviously his dad had to be there for, mm,
I mean, if you see the scene where he has the picture of him on his dad's shoulders, I'm gonna
yeah.
guess he's at the oldest 9 or 10 in that picture, but more realistically, probably like 8-ish. So, and you got to think that's in 64, 65. So,
Yeah. So you're looking at, you know,
I mean, if they're supposed
he
to
was
be in their
probably
30s, they all
born,
look too young for that. So I'm gonna say 20s.
yeah, I because it's 86, so
Late
you
20s.
figure if Maverick was born
Maths are
in
hard.
60-ish, then he'd be mid 20s by the
Right.
time, we get to the movie. So,
So Goose's death clearly weighs on all of them. That's not really the integral part of the story, but I think too that's part of what Val Kilmer is playing with his face and like what he's saying. He's like, I have to
Yeah.
tread lightly. I want to be respectful. This is hurting me too, but I also want to extend the olive branch. So I thought yeah, you're right. He played that really, really well.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and because here's the other part too, the way I understand it is the relationship between both halves of the fighter jet pilot team. You know, there's a definite trust and camaraderie that's built between the two,
yeah,
whether it's Maverick and Goose, Ice and Slider, Hollywood and Wolfman, whoever the case may be, Cougar and Merlin. You're putting your life in somebody else's hands, and you have to trust that person. And
so
most of these people, they go through flight school together, they go through serving together, and all of that. So the bonds are real between these.
oh yeah. So that brings me to one of my qualms with the movie.
Uh-huh. Proper
And I
segue.
I I haven't like thought enough about it to know how they would have done this, but I really wish they could have somehow explained what a Rio is, because if you don't
Yeah.
know, you just don't know. You'd have to be military, you'd have to be like Navy or Air Force even probably to know what that is. Um because it ties into when they're looking at the plaque and it's like, you know, like they would say like Maverick or like Iceman. Well, why isn't Wolfman on there or why isn't Goose on there? Like whatever. Why don't the Rios get their name too? And it's because they're not.
Okay.
Oh,
No, go ahead.
oh. So if people don't know a Rio, and I think it's just a Navy thing. I threw Air Force in there, but it's the person who runs the radar. So like
Yeah.
navigation, communication, they're the one in the back seat telling them, "Hey, and like in the movie, this MiG is coming up on your six or like whatever." They're the I want to
Yeah.
call them radio because that's not what it's not just what they are. They're obviously pilots, but they're not the main pilot. They're the person in the back telling the pilot, "This shit's over here. This shit's over there. Oh, somebody just called me and told me this. You need to do this." Like I
Yeah.
think it stands for
Well,
let me look it up.
at the speeds that they're
Radar intercept officer.
going,
So
okay, that
I just wish somehow they could have explained that relationship because when I first watched the movie, now obviously I was a child, but even into my adult life, I thought they were like equal pilots. Like, why does Maverick get the front and Goose gets the back? Who fucking knows? But I wish they could have like somehow just thrown that in there a little more like technical stuff. So we know what their professional relationship is. Like, obviously, they're besties
yeah.
in life, but what's their professional relationship? So
Well, yeah, because they
small,
obviously
you know.
they talk about um they have the scene after the first flyby where Goose shows up at Maverick's house and he's like having this talk with him about,
The pattern is full.
yeah, you know, they have this history together, and there's nothing else in the world that I'd rather be doing than doing this with you and all of that. But and winning the trophy would be nice, but I'm not gonna lie, dude. At this point, I just hope we fucking graduate. That shit
Right.
was freaking. They obviously trust each other and love each other to the point to where they can be open and real with each other and say, "Hey, get your shit together because you're fucking up and your fuck ups are going to end up screwing my life up because I've got a wife and kid that I've got to worry
Yeah,
about as well."
exactly. Like, I
And
can't
then,
just fly by the seat of my pants and try to avenge my dad's name and try to prove that I'm better than the best
yeah,
asshole out there. He's like, "I have a life, I have a family. I have to take care of them. I can't just,
yeah,
I can't
well,
just fuck up my life like you can," which obviously Maverick is self-destructive and he grows through that process, but, we know that about him almost instantly, so
and that's what makes the evolution of the story work for everybody is we see and we understand how much of a maverick Maverick is in the
Yeah.
beginning, and then what he grows into by the time, Goose dies, and then into, his descent into depression and I can't do this anymore, you know, losing his edge, and
Yeah.
then his return to grace at the end of the movie.
Well, and you also see his refusal to learn from anything. Like, you have the best people in the world telling you what you should and shouldn't be doing, and you're just like basically like fuck you. But I think the moment where Jester tells him, he's like, that was some of the best flying I've ever seen, right up to the part
Right
where
up
you
until
got killed.
you never ever leave your
Yeah,
wingman.
and I think that is kind of when it started to register with him, like, and then of course after Goose dies, it's I don't blame him for feeling responsible. He was flying the plane. Nothing
Yeah,
anybody tells him. I mean, come on. Obviously, that window piece malfunctioned, or the eject thing malfunctioned, because Goose shouldn't have hit that.
no.
So that's already not his fault. The thing that caused the thing in the first place wasn't his fault, but when you're the lead guy, you're always going to take on that responsibility. You're going to take that blame, and it's going to like live with you because, like, I
Well,
get that. Nobody telling you it's not your fault is going to change anything.
no, I mean you can even see on his face when he's in front of the inquiry, and they're literally step by step outline. You couldn't have seen this. You couldn't have had, you're not responsible for this. You're not responsible for that. We're absolving your record, and you're restored to active flight duty effective immediately. This case is closed. You know, be
And
gone. But yet he still has that I don't believe a damn word you say look on his face. Like
it's almost
it's
like
my
he wanted
fault.
the opposite so that he could be discharged and not have to. He could just be like, "Yeah, it's my fault, and I'll go,
Yeah.
work at Walmart for the rest of my life or something." Like,
Well, and therein
he thought he
lies
deserved that.
the dramatic portion of the movie that I love too is like from there, he quits and he's going to leave and go home, but before he can leave, Charlie catches up to him. She sits down and has her heart to heart with him at the airport while they're drinking ice water. And
Pinlock, is it?
yeah, and you, I think she gets him to start to open his eyes, but it's still
Yeah.
it's the beginning stages because you still have he goes and talks to Viper and he tells him about what happened with his dad and all of that, and you know that helps to settle him down because he's for all of his life he's had all these questions about what happened and why this and why that and what the hell, and you know
I think
someone
the mission
finally
is what snapped him back.
yeah
I'm still needed. They still need me. They still want me. I've got to go do this thing, and nothing else matters right now because I'm serving my country and they need me. And I think
yeah
that's what kind of snapped him back. And he had his moment where he was like, you know, afraid of
well
what to do, but
because even after they get to the ship and the final dogfight starts and he's put on standby. He doesn't get to go immediately into fight with the other
right.
pilots. But then Hollywood and Wolfman get taken out, and he has to come and save the day. But
Yeah.
even then, he still hasn't let go of it enough that he gets into the heat of the battle. And again, it comes back to you never ever leave your wingman.
But he
He gets
does.
into that situation with Ice, and shit gets hairy, and he's not ready to let it go and realize and learn his lesson that he needed to learn.
And then
until
Philip from Nightmare 3 starts yelling at him.
Yeah.
Maverick! Maverick!
But yeah, then he looks down at his hand and sees, the Goose's dog tags, and he has that moment of realization that you know we fucked up a lot of shit through all X, Y, and Z. But then at the end of the day, the main thing I need to learn to make me a better pilot, you never ever leave your wingman.
Yeah.
So he ends up
Oh, sorry.
re-engaging, and because
Yeah.
it's like Ice gets pissed, Slider gets pissed,
Well, no shit.
Principal
They're
Strickland
covered by
gets
like
pissed.
4 planes. Like, what are they gonna? They're gonna die. Like,
Yeah, no, if Maverick, well, I mean, the odds are, 5-on-2 or whatever it was. Yeah, the odds were not in their favor, but it's Hollywood, and Tom Cruise can't die at the end of the movie.
of course. Okay, so that's a good segue
So,
into my second big qualm of the movie.
okay.
Um, and again, this is a storyline thing. It's not about the, production, anything, whatever. Who in the motherfucking fuck does Maverick think he is taking Goose's dog tags? Those belong to Goose's son. And he just takes them and
Yeah,
then he chunks them in the motherfucking ocean. Like, I'm sorry. I know y'all are besties. I know he was your Rio, blah, blah, blah. You did not take the dog tags unless they were explicitly given to
no.
you. Um, and maybe
Well, no,
that's
that
just
would
again
be,
because I know how important they are. But like that, those should have gone to his son. I, I get the symbolism and why they did it, but I feel like they should have just
yeah,
that whole scene with Meg Ryan. They could have thrown in a quick here. Goose would want you to have these, like just something to make it okay that he took them
yeah.
and then threw them in the ocean. Like that pissed me off so much.
I I could stomach him having them, but to me there needed to be a moment where they went from him to her so that she could pass them on to his son.
Right. Or, I mean, it didn't even have to be that Maverick saw and picked him up, put him in the box, he was taken away. It could have just been he had his box, the wife comes up, she has them in her hand and says, Goose would want you to have these. Like, so he's
Yeah,
always with you or something. Because she should have had the opportunity to keep those for herself and her son. And it was
yeah,
like, I think military people probably watched that and were like, yeah, maybe I'm wrong, but I just that to me was kind of a once they're his, he can do what he wants with them. If him letting Goose go means he's going to leave these dog tags in the ocean where presumably close to where Goose died, whatever. If that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do, but you need to make sure they fucking belong to you first and he didn't do
yeah.
that. So again, my qualms are little, but I felt like that's a flaw in the story. Like in real life that no way would that happen.
No, I think
And father, if you're
I
still watching, comment. I don't think he's watching because he's not saying anything. We
no.
haven't
Your
talked
dad's
in a long
normally
time.
pretty good about chiming in regularly while we record. So, but no, and I totally agree with both of your qualms. The only other qualm that I had,
Put these back
and I noticed this all the way back as a kid watching this movie, too much tongue, Tom.
on. Oh my god, there was so much tongue in that scene. Like, why are they licking each other's faces off? They really weren't, but there was a lot of tongue
Oh,
in that. And as a
it's
child, I'm like,
damn
what is
near.
happening? Why are they licking each other?
Oh my god. Uh
What? Oh, big delay in message
oh.
showing. Oops.
True, dog tags are personal property. Families should have them.
Ab-
And
absolutely.
big delay in message showing.
Oh, whoops.
Yeah, because
Sorry.
literally both of those messages just popped up. So, social
So we
media is
know that it's an 80s
it,
thing that it looks like people are eating each other's faces when they kiss, especially in
uh,
horror movies. And it's so loud. It's like I'm glad that filmmakers have finally gotten kissing down to a little bit better of being tolerable to watch. Cause like I mean, kissing is amazing, but it's not like that pretty or exciting to watch, especially if people are really going at it. But in the 80s, it was like everybody was just like it, it was too much tongue, too much kissing, too much open mouth in the 80s.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm glad they found an effective level of Berlin to cover up any noises that may have been going on during that scene. I mean,
Well, I
take
think
my
they
breath
edited.
away. No, take the sound of this sex away. Because
I will say that's a very
I'm just
well
saying.
done scene. Yes, there's a lot of tongue, but I thought it was a very classy love scene. It was very like,
Oh yeah,
it, it was a good intro to sex scenes
it
for younger people. Like it wasn't over the top, but
it
there was
could have
just
been
so
like
much
the scene in Jerry Maguire.
don't ever stop fucking me. I will never get over that and
Oh
watching that with my boyfriend's parents in college. I was so embarrassed.
yeah, that, and it came out of fucking nowhere.
It really
I saw
did.
that movie in the movie theater. I'm like, oh,
She
okay,
must be one classy lady. And then, don't ever stop fucking me. I was like, okay. Kudos to you, Kelly Preston.
right?
I don't think Tom Cruise could get
So
a Kelly Preston in real life, just saying. But R.I.P. Kelly Preston.
yes,
Anyway,
100%. Um,
so yes, I had the same qualm. So while we're talking about that,
was there any other qualms that you have that you would like to discuss before we get to the ratings on the show?
yes. You can't just quit the fucking military, Cougar. You can't just throw your wings on someone's desk and be like, see you later. Doesn't work like that. So that kind of bothered
No.
me.
Well, I mean, Maverick tried to do it too.
I mean, okay, I would get that maybe you can quit the Top Gun school, but they weren't in Top Gun yet. So what is Cougar quitting? Like you can't quit the
Oh no,
Navy. Like
Cougar was
Cougar was
quitting the
done.
freaking
You can't
military.
just do that. Like Top Gun is an elite program or whatever. I could see how maybe you could quit that. I still don't know how it works. I don't know if it's like West Point where like you're I don't know. Again, father in the comments, say something if your messages show up. But
Yes.
the way they made that look was just like Cougar lost it and turned in his wings, and now he's just going home to his family. You can't fucking do that. It doesn't work like that.
Well,
That's called
no, that's
AWOL. That's called prison time.
literally exactly the freaking quote that he said because Principal Strickland's trying to convince him, it's no big deal. We've seen this before, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, no, sir, I'm holding on too tight. I've lost my
Yeah.
edge. Throws his wings on the desk and walks out. It's like,
And it's
okay,
hard because when he's like, it, I almost orphaned my kid today and I've never even met him. Like, yeah.
yeah.
So
Well, I get it. I mean, people in the military sacrifice a lot to provide us the freedom that we are rewarded with on a daily basis in this country,
they
right,
do.
wrong, or
And
indifferent.
I think
Just
people
saying.
forget that service members aren't in charge of where they go or what they do. Like, again, with Vietnam, I mean, people got called baby killers. They got spit on. And yeah, our military did some fucked up shit in Vietnam. The service
Oh
members
yeah,
aren't in charge of that. They don't get to decide what they do
no,
and don't do. That comes from the government. So be mad at the government, not the people who actually served and had to live with it. Oh, show the one
Was
before that.
more a drama thing, I guess, to show. Oh, wait. Not a
Not a
thing
thing
he
he would
was.
have to go through a board to quit his job. Just to quit the job, even, not to leave the military.
Yeah. Was
And
more of a
yeah,
drama thing, my guess, to show Maverick wasn't the best at the moment. Well, no,
yeah.
because
I
even
mean,
they said even at towards the end of the movie, you're always second best.
yeah. I think
And
in that point in time, people weren't going to know that you couldn't just quit your job in the Navy or the Army or whatever.
yeah,
Now people really know that. People know what AWOL is. People know that when you're in, you're locked in for 4 years at least or whatever. But I think in 1986, people probably just didn't know that and they accepted it as like whatever.
yeah.
A hole in the story, not a doesn't take away from my love for the movie. Um, just bothers me with the storyline a little bit, but it's a small thing.
Well, realistically, none of these qualms that we've talked about are big enough qualms, in my opinion, that oh God, I'm never gonna watch this movie again. Blah 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 blah.
Right.
This
Oh, and
is
Maverick and
still.
Charlie falling in love insanely fast, but that happens in like half the movies I watch, so I can't really complain about it.
uh, I was gonna say that they're
Titanic,
not
it's
gonna
not even
have.
48 hours.
Yeah.
When you know, you know.
So, um,
Should we talk about quotes
have you
before we do our reviews?
so many fucking quotes. Jesus God.
Movie is so quotable.
I'm not gonna
Oh,
lie. Freaking, if you haven't watched this movie and need to know about quotes, go watch the damn movie. It start to finish. It's quote after quote after quote.
and a lot of it's quoted today. I mean, I feel the need for speed. That's most
Oh
definitely
yeah.
still quoted. Um, so I was gonna say at my wedding, my husband fraternity brothers serenaded me with "She's Lost That Loving Feeling," and it was really cute.
I mean, I've seen stuff like that happen numerous times, and you have to thank Top Gun for that because
Yeah, exactly. Like, who does
it,
that?
it's
She's like, "Yeah,
how it's how the
I've
two
never
of them
seen
met
that
in the
approach.
beginning.
Nobody has."
Yeah, and then it's how they reunite at the end of the movie when she comes back for him, only to end up leaving him in
Yeah,
between
because Jennifer Connelly
1986.
is hotter. Fuck the movie industry for that. Jennifer Connelly's
Yeah,
hot. Nothing against her, but you know,
no, it is what it
they'd
is,
want Kelly
and
McGillis back because she
it,
doesn't look Hollywood anymore.
yeah, and honestly, I feel like we will more than likely at some point down the road be talking about Maverick because
Yeah,
I was not expecting that movie to be what it was. Whether or not, you know, I feel it's worthy of a better Rotten Tomato score than what the 59% that this movie got. That's to be discussed at a later date. But
yeah. It was better than I anticipated.
the Navy would have over $1 million invested in those. Oh, easily, yeah. Well, and
That's a
even
big gamble with a $30 million plane, Lieutenant.
yeah, I was
Exactly.
literally going to bring that one up too. It's like how much money they have invested in the actual humans in those planes, but then
Right.
that's a big gamble with a $30 million plane.
It's not just the contract, it's all the money they've invested in their education and their training and all of that.
Well,
Um, so one of the things I always say, and it's usually when I'm at a restaurant, this is what I call a target-rich environment. Yes, I say it about food, not men. Sorry. Um, Goose has some of the best lines that she's lost that loving feeling. I hate it when she does that. And he's like, the finger. Sorry, I hate it when it does that. He's so cute. Goose is the cutest. We regret to inform you that your sons are dead because they were stupid. Goose has some of my faves, for sure.
Maverick wanted the glory of being the one to take out Viper, and
Yeah,
because he was blinded by that, Jester swooped in and took them out.
yeah. And I say just a walk in the park, Kazansky, all the time. But I will say this is what I call a
Uh,
target-rich environment. I say a lot. And then, of course, the one I think we all say, it's classified. I could tell you, but then I'd have to kill you. I say that a lot
yeah,
when
that
something's secret, not gonna lie.
I think probably one of my all-time favorite lines in the movie, though, happens to be one that Principal Strickland says when
Can
right after as his
we
meeting
say
with
it at the
Maverick
same
and Goose is
time?
ending. But
Your
remember, if
ego's
you even
writing
screw up
checks your
this
body.
much,
What are you
oh, yeah,
saying?
that too.
Oh, we were saying the wrong one. Okay, you go
If you
first.
your ego's writing checks, you're
That's what
yeah,
I thought you were saying. Your ego's writing checks your body can't cash. Because I also say that.
yeah. Oh
I
no,
usually
that
say
I
it with
love. I have
audacity.
that one on my list too. The other one I have was, but just remember, if you screw up even this much, you'll be flying a cargo plane full of rubber dog shit out of Hong Kong.
Yes, sir. And talk
I
to
mean,
me, Goose. I feel like people say that all the time.
oh
Um,
yeah, negative Ghost Rider. The pattern is full.
yes, negative ghost rider. George says that at least once a week. At least.
Well, I mean,
You have to have carnal knowledge of a lady this
of
time.
a lady this time.
And I'm gonna need a beer to put out these flames. I feel like crash and burn walk or not crash and burn, turn and burn walked so shake and bake could run.
Yeah,
If you don't know shake and bake, you need to watch Talladega Nights.
exactly. Um, well, and even you know, I have written down too the quintessential Iceman line that literally defines his relationship with Maverick. I don't like you because you're dangerous.
That's right, Ice
That
Man. I
I
am
am
dangerous.
dangerous.
And
It
the plaque for the
clearly
alternates is
defines.
down in the ladies' room.
Oh my God, whose butt
Okay,
did you kiss to get in here?
so
The
can
list
we
is
talk
long and
about
distinguished, like my
oh, yeah,
Johnson.
there's your favorite one. The list is long
Oh,
but
I'm
distinguished. So is my Johnson.
like my Johnson.
Yeah. Um, yeah, Hollywood had some really good lines. Um, can we talk about how many things in this movie I didn't get or we didn't get as kids? Like that one when he said so is my Johnson? No fucking clue what he was talking about. When he's like,
No, I didn't even
I'm
realize.
I'm getting a
Probably
hard on, man. No clue what he was talking about.
yeah. I don't think it. I think it was probably seventh or eighth grade when I realized what exactly a Johnson was.
Well, and that's a really old way of saying it too nowadays, but still, I had no clue. Like I remember watching it
No,
going, "What is
but
he talking about?"
I mean, it all boils down to. I'm sure that they had them in Oklahoma as well, but Big Johnson T-shirts,
Oh, yes, yes, I remember those.
and
Oh,
oh my God, that
everybody had
was
those.
a hot button topic like a motherfucker. What? Because
Thought they were
I
hilarious.
believe it was eighth grade. Oh, so did I.
But by that
And
time, I knew what
it
it meant.
finally. Oh yeah, that's how I learned what it meant. But it definitely helped define what exactly a Johnson was.
Yeah.
Because it
You
was very
guys and your
inappropriate.
names for your dicks. Like, I don't get it. Call him a little general.
Hey, that's just how we are.
But
But
yeah, this movie is super fucking quotable, and those quotes have lasted over generations. Like, so I think that's something to be said for this movie for sure.
yeah, and at the end of the day, that's one of the reasons why. I mean, spoiler alert, but my top five lists that I brought for this episode was top five most quotable movies of all time. And in my opinion, for a movie to be deemed quotable, it has to be something with an insane amount of freaking memorable quotes that
Really? That's
have
the criteria?
transcended the test of time.
All right, we'll do your top 5 and I'll do mine and then we'll do our
I'm
reviews.
keeping up foreign relations,
The
giving the
bird.
bird.
The finger. Yes, I know the finger goose. Sorry, I hate it when I say
So,
that. Oh, wait, you
um,
forgot one. Bullshit. I still do
right,
that to this day.
I that yeah, it's I always have the cough, bullshit
Yeah.
or
Or whatever,
whatever.
but bullshit is still like the bullshit.
Yeah. Uh, so my
Okay.
top five most quotable movies of all time. I'm going to go number five, surprisingly enough, because it actually is my number one favorite movie of all time. But
Oh.
I'll bump it down to number five for the purpose of this list. The Crow.
Is
I
The
mean,
Crow that quotable?
it is to me. I mean,
Okay. That's fair.
I'll go with that. But
That's fair.
number four, The Princess Bride.
Oh, yes. I'm not
Number
a witch, I'm
three,
your wife.
number three, ironically has a three in its name because I have a plethora.
Ah.
The Three Amigos.
Yes.
Number two is one of the most iconic comedies of the 80s, and it's mine and Amanda's one of our favorite movies of all time because we both have flames on the side of our face.
That should have been number 1. I know because I was there.
I it's so close between one and two,
Okay.
but for the purpose of this episode and the fact that we're paying tribute to the late Val Kilmer,
Is Top Gun
I'm
1?
going number
Because
one.
no.
Out of out of respect for Ice, Top Gun is number
Okay.
one.
Okay.
But
Clue's
it,
more
like
quotable,
I
but
said, I
whatever.
feel it's close between the two.
Yeah.
So, do you have a top five list you would like to share with us?
This is war, Peacock. Yes. So I did top 5 plane movies. So movies that take place on or with planes. Real quick honorable mentions. This is technically a helicopter, but I don't care because I love this movie, Firebirds.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
God, such a good movie. Up in the Air, Passenger 57, and Memphis Belle. Those were my honorable mentions. Okay. Number
always bet
5.
on black.
Yeah, number 5 is Con Air. Obviously a good one.
Yeah,
Number 4 is
put the money
Airplane.
in the box.
Yeah. Put the money in the box. That's still one of my favorite things we ever did on the sip list. We laughed so hard.
Oh Lord,
Um, Number 4 is Airplane. An oldie but a goodie. I am
again, a
serious, and
very
don't call me Shirley.
very quotable movie.
It's a twister. It's a twister. Okay. Number 3 was Top Gun. Sorry, I did not put it at number 1, but number 2 is Red Eye. Love that movie. So good. And number one is "Get Off My Plane."
Uh, Air
Air
Force
Force
One.
One. Stomping in my Air Force Ones. Yeah.
Uh,
So,
So, if you were going to give this movie a rating out of 5,
so obviously, for nostalgic reasons, this is way up there. This is a movie I grew up watching, loved it, even though I didn't know what like a third of the commentary meant. Um, it was just a fun movie, and again, having a dad in the military, I thought it was cool to like, not the same branch, but still. Um, and yeah, so many hot men. We glossed over that volleyball scene, but whew, kind of fan myself off for that. Damn.
I'm not going to lie, I'm not into guys, but that scene
Uh
made me want to learn how to play
Slider with
beach volleyball.
his like whew. Anyway, um I'm glad that we got a little man candy because that's, not always what we get. Um I'm gonna give it 4.5 out of 5 Top Gun trophies.
I, yeah, I was going to go 4 out of 5 as well.
Well, I said 4.5.
Like, yeah, 4.5. Yeah,
4.5.
I'll go with 4.5. I mean, the movie is quotable as hell. It's got
Yeah.
hundreds of freaking quality performances in it from top to bottom.
Yeah.
It's well written. It's well directed. It's got suspenseful action in it. It's to anything that you would need in a movie. It has
Yeah.
tears, laughs, anger, whatever. It's an emotional roller coaster from minute one all the way till roll the roll the closing credits.
Yeah.
So
And it's patriotic without being political, which is a hard thing to do. And at the end of the
yes,
day, like nowadays, I am definitely not proud to be American, and I don't care who hates me for saying that. But before current times, like no matter what shit had gone wrong, I was always like, it's like embedded in me to be proud to be an American. And when you watch a movie
yeah,
like this, it's like it's not political at all. It's just showing you this is what our service people do, and this is what they go through, and this is how they protect us, and it makes you feel an appreciation for that without you know fucking it up with politics.
exactly. Because politics suck at the end of the day. So
Yeah.
I'm going 4.5 great balls of fire out of 5.
Nice.
So
Talk to me, Goose.
this
Uh,
this was definitely a lot of fun talking about this movie because like I've loved this movie for 20, 30 ish,
yeah.
almost 40 years.
And we barely
Oh,
scratched the
Jesus Christ.
surface, honestly, which is crazy. But
Yeah, we really did. And the only reason I'm pushing through to wrap is we're literally
oh, me
sitting on
too.
almost an hour and a half long of this
Oh, I know.
episode.
No, I just yeah,
So,
we've talked for a long time, but
and it,
yeah, there's so much more to say. I mean, we didn't even get into the soundtrack.
oh
So,
yeah,
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 but
exactly. And it's
good
one,
times.
I would put this in one of the greatest movie soundtracks, not just of the 80s, but of all
Yeah.
time.
I have it on vinyl
So,
and it's an original pressing. So,
ooh,
woo woo. Take my
so
breath away. Isn't that great
with too
singing?
much tongue. But obviously, 100% rest in peace, Val Kilmer. Um, thank you for helping create such amazing foil to Tom Cruise in this movie. Without
Yes.
ice, this movie would not have been the same.
Oh, definitely not. And
So
his famous I do that too. I'm like
yeah,
with my teeth. I don't know if you guys can hear it,
so
but I love when he does
here
that.
shortly. I used to do it all the time growing up, not so much anymore. Um,
Yeah.
but hopefully that
Me
will
either, because I bite the inside of my cheek.
be something I can restart doing again at some point in the very near future. So
Yes.
my co-host knows, and everybody else will know once everything is all taken care of. But um, yes, 100%. Though, if you have not seen Top Gun and you sat here for an hour and a half listening to us go on and on and on
You're
about this movie,
dumb because we just ruined everything.
you literally, I mean, the only thing we haven't ruined is still to come, but you know, there is all of that. But um,
The movie is almost 50 years old. I don't like, or
oh,
40. Like, I don't feel bad if you haven't
maybe
seen it.
older than I already am.
Sorry. This movie's almost 40
So,
years old next year. Like, if you haven't seen it, you're never going to
yeah,
watch it.
no, and I feel with the overwhelming blockbuster success that Maverick had,
Yeah.
you know, if you had not seen the original and you went and saw Maverick, what the hell? Why haven't you gone back and
Right.
watched the original? And both are available on Paramount Plus,
Yeah.
so
And Prime.
that's on you people on Prime.
And
So
Maverick was a good standalone sequel. You could watch it without having seen the
yeah,
original. I don't know why you would, but I get that it's for younger people. And Miles Teller is up, or not Miles Teller, Glenn Powell and Miles Teller. They're both in it.
yeah,
It was appealing to a younger audience. So it was good that you could watch it without having seen the first one, but also you should go watch the first one.
yeah. No kid. Miles Teller plays Goose Jr.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So,
And they did a good
but
job with that.
yeah, I'm not a huge Miles Teller fan at all.
I think he's
So
adorable.
hate me if you want, but I'm just not.
I do hate
But I went into Maverick with a little bit of hope that maybe he might do something with the role, and he pleasantly surprised me. We'll just leave it at
Yeah.
that. But so coming up
All right.
on an evening at the movies, we've got um, literally this episode will drop tonight as soon as I get everything downloaded. So bonus, you get 2 episodes this week. Um, and then next week, I'm not sure if we're going to release it, what day we're going to release it on, because the day we're celebrating is not Wednesday, but
But we
um,
must not dwell.
we will
Not on
celebrate
Rex Day.
Rex Manning Day and talk about Empire Records with Papa Palpatine. Brandy has requested we discuss Wicked, which I did officially start, and I may or may not have fallen asleep in the middle of.
What
But
is with you and falling asleep during musicals? How do you fall asleep during Hamilton and Wicked? I don't understand you.
I started Wicked at like 1 o'clock in the morning.
But it's a musical. How does that not keep you awake? I don't know.
I was fucking tired. And then oh, Princess Bride as well is our audio only redo for the month. So we've got all that to look forward to coming up. So I believe I have not done my thank you each and every week for you guys being here. You guys are awesome. Um, Great numbers as always. The numbers keep going up, and some of our older episodes are actually seeing numbers increase as well. So thank you all for that. I think that's all I have. So I will turn the microphone over and my awesome, amazing co-host can say anything that she wants to say, and then take us home.
All right. Well, this was fun. Thank you guys for watching and listening. We appreciate you very much. And R.I.P. Val Kilmer. And we hope you all come back for an evening at the movies.
Hey,
Goodbye.
hey,
What?
hey! You are still dangerous. You can be my wingman anytime.
Oh my God. That was my other qualm. I knew there was another one. One of the most cheesy lines in cinema ever. You can be my wingman anytime. Bullshit. You can be mine. Anyway, I knew I had another one. That was it. Thank you. But
You're
yeah, I'll
welcome.
be your wingman. All right, guys. Thanks for watching and listening. We hope you come back for an evening at the movies. Goodbye.
Peace and hair grease. Because there was a lot of hair grease in Top Gun.
Or hair gel. Bye.